Welcome back to this fourth part. So a couple things to keep in mind is we talked about earlier, we're not going to worry about this, we're not going to worry about that. Looks like that marker's almost dead. Let me pick a different green and see if that works better. So far we've gone through these steps and we've solved, not really solved, but we've been able to find the equations for each of these lines. And when we went through the first one, we went through the exact same process again and again, and now we're going to do it once again to find the fourth line. So when you look at the back of your paper, there is a B. If you want to work on B, you can if you want more practice, but you don't have to. I'm not going to require it because what we did today, well, it can be challenging, but it's not necessarily difficult. I think it's challenging in a sense that you have to stay organized. You've seen, if I pull out one of my, here's the first one that we did, if you pull out all this work, you can see how it's easy to not be organized and to have stuff all over the place. In math, you want to start to get organized. You want to have a place for everything. Now, yours might look slightly different in the future, but you want to be able to organize everything. You can't do this in your head. There's no way you can possibly do this in your head unless you're, like I said before, unless you're a math genius. And you might be, but that doesn't mean you can't. And if you're not a math genius, it doesn't mean you can't be good at math. Everybody can do math to a high degree or to a high level. You just have to stay disciplined and you have to organize your work. So let's do this last problem. Here are the set of coordinates. So if you look at that line, some of the stuff that we're going to do is going to make sense in a little bit. So let's start with the same process that we have been doing, where we have your y2 minus your y1, x2 over x1. Now, if you look in your notes, you should see this in your notes, the notes that I've given you. So I don't know if I talked about that. I probably talked about before I assigned a problem. Make sure you use your notes. And if you came up and asked for help, I probably told you to use your notes. So if we have that right there, again, all we're doing is taking a y, and it doesn't matter which way we go. We can take y2 minus y1 and x2 minus x1, or we can take this one minus this one, and we can go this way. So I'm going to go from here to here, and why? Because 123 minus 35 keeps it positive, but you'll see in a little bit that doesn't really matter. So if I look at this, and I take 168, and I'm going to subtract, it's going to be a little bit longer, 168. So I took this minus that. Now I'm going to take the 123 minus 35. So go ahead, use your calculator to subtract these. And if you take a look at this top one, you probably think, oh my, that's 0. But 123 minus 35 is not 0. What do you guys get when you do that? So if I take 123 minus 35, I get 88. So use your calculator. Take 0 and divide that by 88. What do you get? Your calculator should say 0. 0 divided by anything is going to be 0. So my slope is actually 0. Now, why does that make sense? Well, if you look at it here, it goes straight across. It doesn't go up. It doesn't go down. It goes straight across. I know that because where I am on the y, it just goes straight across. So it has no slope. So when I start to take a look at my y equals mx plus b, things are going to start to come into focus a little bit. So we've got to solve this for b. I know my slope right here, but I don't know my b. So I'm going to take a set of coordinates, and let's just use this set right here. So if I take 168, because that's my y, I'm going to plug it in for y. What's my slope? My slope is 0. So if I take 0 and I multiply it by x, and what's my x? 123 plus b. What's 0 times 123? If you said 0, you're right. So this might have been the easiest math one that we've done. So if I write this out, what is my slope? My slope is 0, x plus 168. Now I can rewrite this. If I have 0x, I can actually just get rid of that because there's 0 of them. Y equals 168. So if I was doing a graph, and if I was going to put this on a graph, I would go up to 168, and it's going to go straight across. So that's my third and final one. And I can write that in here. Y equals 168. So that's all you have to do for 88. So this is going to take you and your partners a little while. You're going to need to help each other. You're going to need to pause this video. You're going to need to rewind it. But again, the math is fairly straightforward. However, you have to do the same process over and over and over and over and over and over and over again until you get the hang of it. It's no different than learning how to play an instrument in band. You just have to practice it over and over and over and over. And the more you practice, the better you're going to get. So, as always, ask for help if you need any.